Evil lurks in the darkest corners of outer space. The fate of the galaxy lies in the balance. But have no fear, adventurer. Introducing the 6-foot-tall, spandex-clad, intergalactic vigilante known as Tailless. Join Tailless, his sidekick Jet, and his fiery love interest Adelaide as they answer the call to defend the galaxy. Does Tailless have what it takes to save the day? Find out in The Adventures of Tailless in Outer Space Collected Edition. Now, for the first time ever, you can get your hands on all things Tailless. 6 short mini-comic adventures in one book. In each new adventure, Tailless faces off against a new and ever more dangerous threat. Discover the origins of Tailless in the bonus material section. An expansive deep dive into the character's creation, featuring every single image, story, and fan art of Tailless ever created. What are you waiting for? The Adventures of Tailless in Outer Space Collected Edition is out now, only on Indiegogo. Back the hottest crowdfunded comic of the year. Adventure lies in your hands.
Twisted Fairy Tales. The YouTube show you love to watch bring you an anthology truly top-notch. Over 14 stories and over 80 pages. Rest assured this is not for all ages, so sit back in your chair, drink up your ale, and grab your copy of Twisted Fairy Tales. Showcasing creators, both old and new, the Bargain Bin knew just what to do. Cool art, cool stories, all from cool scripts. To top it off, we added some sexy chicks.
Will Mr. Rattle's dreams come true? Who is the mysterious Dawn? Where does role of Rattle and Roll fit into this? Why did Mr. Rattle stow away to America? What is a jam? Where did Mr. Rattle get counterfeit money? Why doesn't Mr. Rattle have whiskers? All these and other questions will be answered in the first and following issues of Rattle and Roll.
Bargain bin, let's see what crowd is in. Baba Dave and his hair, he's old man, but please don't stare. Alright, he's on the bargain bin. Next on up is Jacobus, with computer skills most dubious. Can he play a video stream? Way, here is the bargain bin. Bonus section, it's area black. For the furries, he's got your back. Along with Neve, that rhymes with Steve. Can she weave? She'll knit you a sleeve. Whoa, they're on the bargain bin. It's on Monday night. If you're lucky, it's on time. It's a pile of shite, but to miss it is a crime. Just out the gate, it's Rob GP. He's not a dog, but he'll make you pee. Up for a laugh, he'll laugh at Oat. If he falls flat, he'll get his coat. Whoa, we are the bargain bin. You hear the bargain bin, huh? This is the bargain bin.
Good evening, YouTube! Well, I thought I'd make a bit of an announcement. We're on a skeleton crew at the moment. It's just me and Justin. Hi, hello there.
I love the fact you called it a skeleton crew. That implies I've lost some weight.
Well, like chance would be a fine thing, it's still too close to Christmas. Right, so it's going to be a short one today, maybe because partly because it's us two, partly because we started a bit late, but also we just want to have a quick word with Charlie and Yan. Applause. Hello.
How you guys doing?
All right. Very good. Thank you, Justin. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
You look like you lost a bit of weight.
I knew I liked this guy for a reason. We need to get him on the show more often.
Yeah, we do try once in a while. Good. How's that? Yeah. What else can I say that Justin hasn't? Yeah, you guys are fine. Hey, how's the campaign looking, Charlie?
Yeah, good. I mean, we hit $26,000 not long ago.
Damn.
So very, very, very good. Due to just stuff going on at home and work and everything, I haven't been promoting and doing as much as I would have liked to have done. But which is testament to the fact that it's chugging along so nicely because people haven't seen me that much around. But we have got like lots of things going on in the pipeline that when we everything starts settling out here, we'll be back doing a lot more. Yan's in the middle of making me a website so I can get have a bit of a combination of like history stuff and comic stuff and just somewhere I can put all the stuff that I do in one nice tidy place and that everyone can come and have a look at. So, like the YouTube shows and a blog, and then there will be links to the book. And then we're going to try and sort out how to sell the first one, aren't we? On our own little section on there. And there's
halfway through crowdfunding.
There's all sorts of other things. Like obviously there's, like Mixam is sort of for a lot of people the go-to printer for CG books. But I found a local printer that weirdly, even though it is a little bit more expensive, are actually literally around the corner, so there'll be no postage. We can just go pick them up.
And you can go in there, see them being made as well.
Yeah, and you can go in there and check out exactly, because there was some issues with like damaged boxes before, which I know a lot of people have also complained about recently. This way you can go in and actually check what is being printed. So that's something that we're looking into. In fact, we've got to go pick up tomorrow some prints from them because they printed some prints from the first book that we're going to be using when we take them to the festival at the weekend. So
right, I'm going to start sharing that page then. Let's first of all share. I'm still kind of a novice at this, really. There you go.
How long has this show been running for now?
Yeah, but I generally don't host, right? I generally don't host. It's right. If I hang on a second, if I go there, no, what am I looking for? I'm looking for this, but I'm actually looking for the home page. Right, let's go to the home page first. Yeah,
there we are.
There you go. Right. So I tell you what. Let's see if I can. Let's go for F11. Right. Okay. Tell us then about Slapstick and how you came to be involved with it.
Oh, I've been going to Slapstick for about 15 years now. It's a silent film festival held
really?
in Bristol. Yeah. It's been going a very long time. In fact, I think it's now coming up to being one of the oldest silent film festivals in the country, if not in Europe. It's
they don't talk about it very much.
I can't imagine they expect you to take a vow of silence, but right, okay,
that was good.
Amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, well, so they
amazing.
What can I say? So they have a lot of they have a lot of influence with a lot of like the classic British comedians that have hosted and been patrons over the years. So people like Paul Merton, Ian Lavender from Dad's Army, Victoria Wood, God bless her. Victoria
Tim Brooke
Taylor. as well.
Your mate,
John Cleese has been there. Who's my mate? What one?
Paul McGann.
Oh yeah, Paul McGann. There's a funny story about Paul
Whoa.
McGann.
Oh. Okay, I'll come back to that. Yeah. Good. All right.
It's very Sanjeev Bhaskar. Oh, there's loads. Oh, Lucy Porter. So there's loads of It's a very, very British event, and I've been at these things. Oh, Bill Oddie. Can't forget Bill Oddie. Eric Idle. John Cleese has been there. So it's a proper. I mean, it's a proper British. The who's who, the creme de la creme of like British comedy, and I think this year it's also got what's the guy, Gavin and Stacey plays Bryn.
Oh yeah, Rob Brydon.
Rob, he's there this year. Stephen Merchant's there this year. So
I know. I saw that he was hiding there. I think he's absolutely brilliant, that guy.
And what's amazing is that they literally just sit in the coffee shop with everybody. Like they're just there. Like you can go talk to them. It's very much it is very, very low key, but still quite a prestigious event. And because they've been around for so long, they have connections with the British Film Institute and all these other conservationist sort of film experts, that they will get the showings of things like they're showing A Hard Day's Night this year, and Paul McCartney's brother is introducing it.
Oh wow!
All right.
So it's who I think
Michael.
Michael's there. Michael McCartney's there. I think he might have been an extra in A Hard Day's Night. That's what, but I don't quite
Probably
know.
Was.
Who, Michael?
Yeah, Michael. His brother's name.
Michael's in A Hard Day's Night. Damn. Cool.
But so I have been going for about 15 years on and off. And Slapstick was where a lot of it really all started for me, because that was where I met a lot of the people that there's Christopher Daniels, who is the event organizer, and I've known him a really long time, and I've been doing my comic and everything, and they didn't really have a proper Slapstick event. The last proper one was about 3 years ago now in January. So when I launched book one, the only thing that was going on was some online events. When I launched book two, they weren't sure. And then I wrote to them and I said, look, I've got this book and this is the situation. And they actually messaged me back and was like, how did we not know this existed? It's like, how do we not know anything? So they wanted to talk about it. And I literally thought it was going to be a little thing where maybe they might have me there for about 5 minutes and sell some books and whatnot. But they've got a whole, it's going to be between an hour and a half. They've contacted, I could have sorted this for them, but it sounds better that it comes from them. They've got the Chaplin estate allowing them to show clips. There's a questions and answer. There's a whole section where they're going to be telling book one.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Full house. House.
So yeah, it's not really. It's still very overwhelming in a lot of respects, because and they've like sent me what they want to talk about, a list of things that they want to go through the book. They've taken certain sections that they want to talk about more detailed. They've got obviously the information for the second book, which I think will probably get quite a lot of interest for the second book, and a nice little bump, because we're going to print in July, August, and we're right on track for it. Excellent. So we're sort of taking the opportunity to make it a bit of a unofficial CGUK meetup, because there's about 5 or 6 of us that are all going to be there together. Yeah, because Chubb lives there, and this is not doxing him, but Bristolian Dave is in Bristol.
Oh no, I didn't know Bristolian Dave lived near there, dude. What are the odds?
So he's coming down, and a couple of others. So it is gonna be, it's gonna be a good little event, and they're gonna be heckling me, I'm sure. So we'll wait and see what goes.
See, that's what we ought to discuss right now. What the hecklers can actually shout at Charlie. What do you reckon, Jan? What would be fitting?
I think hold up a black board with white writing on it, just with the word boo. And then mouth the word.
What they should do all
And then
the
hold the
insults.
sign up.
Yeah, they should do all the insults on intertitles, shouldn't they? So it fits in with the.
They should have a blackboard, but it's got to have kind of like a curly kind of wrought iron gate effect in the corner.
Yeah.
You know, just to make it, you know, look the part.
That'd be brilliant.
I do like the fact, though. I mean, I don't know if they just put it on here to get more bums on seat and make me sound important. If you read the blurb, they have called me like a Chaplin expert, which I'm going to take that. That's just the thing. I'm going to run this one. And considering that they do have, you know, regular input from the Chaplin estate. The Chaplin estate are normally there. David Robinson, who is Charlie Chaplin's sort of official biographer, he's normally there. Kevin Brownlow, who's done a lot of work on Chaplin's films and has won an Oscar for editorial stuff to do with silent film, he's going to be there. So the fact that they're calling me an expert, I mean, bear in mind, it's really funny, and this is why I say that the historians in this stuff, there's no ego with silent film historians, not the ones I mix with, and I love it because Kevin Brownlow is the man responsible for restoring Napoleon, the silent version of Napoleon. He spent over 30 years putting this film back together because they thought that it was lost.
30 years.
Okay.
Years. He would go to like yard sales and boot
Can I just say that you're giving us this information now? How does Jan not know this? So he's as shocked and surprised as we are. Sorry, please carry on.
I was just surprised at 30 years.
Oh, you know, he's met Kevin. It's like, yeah,
that's like a whole career.
But so Kevin, he would go around to like, if he knew that somebody in the film industry that was having a yard sale, he'd go around and go through all of their like collections to see if there was any damaged versions of Napoleon, or even down to things like he'd look in the sections of the newspaper where they were having like vintage fairs, or someone was having a house clearance, and he'd be because what it was there were certain parts of the film that had either been so badly damaged by just decay over the years, or it had been missing. So he was painstakingly putting bits together, literally. Like he might spend a whole week traveling to somewhere to get this particular film reel, and all he's got from it is 16 frames, which is less than a second.
Bloody hell.
That they're going in. It's a 3.5 hour film.
Wow.
Dude, and I thought Napoleon was short.
One of your better ones, Rob. I'm not going to lie. Right. But
oh God.
What's Napoleon short for? Sorry.
They called him like Leon for short. No, a genuine question.
Oh my God, a French assassin called Leon.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Is the name Leon short for Napoleon?
I think it might be.
I'm not like making a joke.
I mean, you've got Leonard, you've got Leonal. I mean, Leon is just Latin for lion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Napoleon is actually a different root because of Napoleana, like from Napoli.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah. So there is.
I does the language stuff. I does.
so he's done all of that, and he's incredible. Like his career is insane. But I remember sitting with him. We was watching the Chaplin film Shoulder Arms, and obviously anyone that knows me, been around CG a while, knows that my expertise is mostly military history. So I was saying that when he made Shoulder Arms in 1917, he was really reluctant to make a war film. Like he really didn't want to make a war film because he knew that anything he made which was going to be comedic, it was going to be seen as being. He was worried it was going to be in bad taste because 2 years before that, he had stopped in court Alfred Harmsworth, Lord Northcliffe, who was head of the Mirror Group. He'd stopped him from publishing an unofficial version of his life. And of course, Northcliffe didn't like that. Northcliffe was like an Edwardian Rupert Murdoch. Yeah. And anything he wanted, he got. And if he didn't get it, he would use his newspapers to make sure that person was very, very much slandered. So he actually also became Minister of Propaganda. So he started bringing all these stories about Chaplin refusing to fight in the First World War. He was a shirker. He was a coward. Why wasn't he signing up to fight and all this stuff? Chaplin did sign up to fight. He went to the British Embassy in Los Angeles, and they told him he was too short and he was underweight. He was 5'4.5" and weighed 9.5 stone. So
have you seen the way his feet stick out? How the hell does anyone march like that?
Well, yeah. But when we was talking about it, we were sat there, and so Kevin went to me. I've always found the way this film is set out really interesting. I said, well, he's really worked hard to blur the lines with the uniforms because he doesn't want people to try to associate one particular army or another, because he's obviously there's a lot of things he's very nervous about with this particular stuff, because he was really petrified of going home. Like the first time he went home in 1921, he genuinely thought he was going to get pelted with stuff and that he was going to be totally hated because of the way that he'd been reading that this is what they believed. And what he didn't realise was he was pretty much just reading all the newspapers that were owned by the Mirror Group, and that they were the ones that were printing this stuff. George V actually refused to give him his knighthood because George V was literally held over a barrel by Northcliffe because he was Minister of Propaganda. So it's really I did my dissertation for my master's on this, and it's got so much more legs that eventually I will do my PhD on it, because I've got the Chaplin estate have given me permission to use the archives to do it, and there's so much more to bring in. So it's a lot. It's a lot to do, and
that's got to feel like a massive honor to be able to access that kind of knowledge.
For sure.
Yeah, because there is so much. Like, for example, this starts with the First World War, but pretty much goes through to the beginning of the first book. Because if you want a good example of cancel culture, and you want a good example of a case study of what it was like to be totally and utterly just pulled apart during the interwar years and the Cold War, you've got no better example. I mean, they would try everything with him, even down to like the whole story of Joan Barry, who was meant to have had his illegitimate love child. That it turned out that J. Edgar Hoover had actually paid for her to testify in court. They did blood tests to prove
that sucks.
They did blood tests to prove that the baby wasn't his. The blood test came back that the baby wasn't his, and then all of a sudden, the state of California said they didn't acknowledge blood tests as being a proof of paternity. It's insane. But actually, I don't know how true this is, but the story is that he told his children to never contest that he carried on paying for this child, even though he knew this child wasn't his, because the mother was a mental patient. And and she ended up dying in an asylum, I believe. She was really troubled, and he thought about, well, I can't say he did, didn't know him, but the assumption would be he thought about his own upbringing, and I think that he probably thought, even if this kid isn't mine, I can save one kid from a destitute life of nothing with just having my money. So I think there's some story that he asked his children never to contest it. Now, truth be told, the only way I can find that out for truth is to ask his kids, but I don't want to, because that's not the kind of conversation I want to have. So just leave it at that. But when I was sat with Kevin, going back to that, I said, well, I think the helmet's Canadian. I think the putties are American. The uniform is Canadian. And that was a conversation. We started talking about the old First World War song, "The Moon Shines Bright on Charlie Chaplin," which is it's an old song the soldiers used to sing, and it got released. It was quite a popular tune at the time. And
really? I have never, ever heard that song. Come on, give us a blast. I'll even give you my microphone.
No, I'm not singing it. Go Google it. But anyway, the point is that the lyrics make it what Harmsworth tried to claim. Even the soldiers can't stand you, Charlie. Look, they're making a song taking the mickey out of the fact you didn't fight in Gallipoli. But if you actually read the lyrics, what I said was saying to Kevin, I actually think they're saying, thank God you're not here. It's a nightmare. We'd rather have your films, leave you at home to make them, because they're actually getting us through this war. And I said it really I always said it really nonchalantly to him. Later that night, he was doing a whole big gala thing to do with Chaplin. Yeah. And then next thing I know, he's gone, and there's a Tudor. There's a Chaplin historian here that has said this, and this, and then asked me to come up on stage with him. I was like, oh shit. But it's because they're like, I go back to my original point. There is no ego with them. Like, they are so happy to share. I mean, he must be coming up to 90 now. Wow. He's going to be at Slapstick. I think he's doing something on Laurel and Hardy. But yeah, really, this is what they're like. So it's such a privilege to be on a panel like that with these people.
Brilliant. Yeah, congratulations. And yeah, absolutely. Well, I say congratulations, but it really shows in the amount of work and love that you've put into the book. I remember writing to you after I'd received mine, telling me, like, really, you know, when I read it, I felt quite emotional towards the end. So it is a book that I believe has been created with love, and not just from the writing, but from the art as well. It is, it really is.
You went
to you know, silent films.
All I'm going to say to you is wait until you you read the second one.
Yeah.
If you think the ending to this one was bad, I proper hit you in your feels in this next one. So I'll give you a bit of a hint, because I've not made any secret about it. It ends with the speech from the great dictator.
Right.
And if I was to say to you that Mickey is drawing panels where his images from the great dictator, and then they merge into images from the Blitz and the Holocaust, and we made it because Chaplin was he dealt with a lot of internal angst about that film after it was made. He said for many years, if I had known what was going on in Europe, I may have never, like, if he had known the extent, because in America he knew there was anti-Semitism in Europe. He was one of the first people to speak out against Hitler, by the way, and it made him in some American circles very, very unpopular. I don't know how they translated this in his head, but by him being anti-Hitler, he was somehow pro-communist. I'm not sure how they worked that one out. But you know, just try to explain to people that the S in NSDAP stands for socialist, and you'll blow their
socialist. Yeah, absolutely. Nationalsocialismus. Yeah. The crazy thing is that Hitler, you know, I mean, he must have loved Chaplin until he saw that film, because he copied his fashion sense.
They were born 4 days apart in the same year.
But that doesn't really explain the moustache, does it?
That.
but I think that's why, you know, because the thing was, he was weirdly, I mean, I didn't manage to cover it in this book because I'm a stickler for getting the rights for things. And I couldn't get the rights in time from the Churchill Foundation. But there is a whole other story, like in the first book where you had the relationship between him and Stan Laurel. There's a whole sub-story going on about his relationship with Winston Churchill. I mean, they shouldn't have got on. They were from totally separate backgrounds. They had completely separate, totally different ideas to the way that things should be. So, for example, Churchill was a staunch patriot that wanted to keep the empire. Chaplin hated the idea of the empire, but he loved the idea of the Commonwealth. And what he said was, countries should be united with us because they want to be, not because they're dependent on us.
Absolutely.
And it was a very interesting, and they were having this conversation. I mean, Chaplin come from a working class family where the chances are the same bowl in the corner of the room he washed in, he also had to go to the toilet in, you know, obviously not at the same time. But the is that he was so poor that this man is having an articulate conversation with the Prime Minister of England about the gold standard. I mean, he's matching him pound for pound in this like heavyweight boxing championship of a conversation. The letters between them was incredible, but I couldn't get permission to use them. So maybe there'll be something that I'll be able to.
Yeah, Chaplin, the prequel.
Yeah. But they were the only two people on a massive social scale in the 30s that were speaking out about Hitler, and no one was listening to them. Like everyone thought that Churchill was mad. Everyone thought that Chaplin was mad. And the fact that he was right and he made this film, and he said afterwards, if I had known the extent of what was going on with the concentration camps and these things, I would have never made that film. And people looked at him and went, are you mad? It's even, that speech at the end.
Yeah.
Even now you'll see it come around social media when a political turmoil happens. It hasn't lost any of its anything in like 80 odd years.
No. The only thing is sometimes people misunderstand, right? Like Starship Troopers. A lot of people think that Starship Troopers is like a gung-ho war film. Obviously, in the book was an anti-war statement, from what I've understood. Yeah. So, not everybody will get you. Whatever you say, not everybody will get you, or people are, still a man hears what he wants to hear, right? So, hey, let's have a quick look. Oh, no, we're going to dox you. Aisha, hey, Yaksham Larsen, that's a saying.
But you know what? Everybody's known my real name for like a bloody long time.
I know.
I would like to add, the only reason, obviously the book was always going to be a thing in my heart, but when I first started coming around CG and was like, I'd be in the chat and super chatting and whatever, the only reason, and I'm sure he probably doesn't remember this, but the only reason that I even changed it to Charlie's London to match with my Twitter was because I would super chat people like Ethan, and my name, he couldn't pronounce it. He spent like a good 20, 30 seconds mulling over that 4-letter word. So I just thought, you know what?
So what is this, Acer? Yeah. Is it Aisha?
I'm guessing now he knows how to say it, and actually he has said it to me and says it very well. And but he just knows me like this, and that's how a lot of people know me. So I don't really mind. Like someone said to me, don't you think? Someone said in a chat once, don't you think it's really weird that she uses like this name when she's got a real name? And someone went, no, people use her real name, but they can't say it. So it's just.
Yeah. I mean, I doubt that Dave is actually called Dave. I think he's just called Briss.
Maybe he's
now for any Jewish viewers out there, I think they'll appreciate that last comment. Right. Okay. Yeah. So on Thursday at 11:40, I like this, military time, 11:40 hours.
And actually, I've been told I need to be there for 11 for a sound check. How professional does that sound?
Dude, respect. Boya kasha. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, like, do you feel that you're getting to have that celebrity status?
No.
No. Not at all.
No.
No. But more people are going to recognize you, of course, especially after this.
I mean, the thing is that a couple of months ago, it's really funny. A couple of months ago, I was having this weird, like, I wouldn't. God hope it's not a midlife crisis, but I was having this weird sort of thought of, I've got so many like fingers in so many pies to do with different historical stuff that I'm really interested in. Yeah. And I kind of got myself to a stage where I was like, I want to be seen as an expert in a field, right? And I was like, but I don't know what it is, because I've got a lot of stuff I do with like Tudor England. I've got a lot of stuff I do with the First World War. But breaking into that sort of being seen as an inner circle of being an academic and being someone that one day they will quote my work. I know this probably sounds really egotistical. It's not meant to be. It's a case of when you're working on something for so long, you just you want to be seen in the sort of the same remit as the people that you admire or you'd like to be, especially if you're putting the work in. Yeah. And then this one here, I went, I just don't know what I'm an expert on. He looked at me in the typical Yan deadpan way. I just held up my book and went like, I was like, yeah. And then when this got published on their website, I did sort of stop and go, why have I never noticed that this is my niche? And I'll tell you why I never noticed this is my niche. Because he's always been there. And because so many things with Chaplin interlinked to my own family life, I didn't see it as being an academic study. I saw it as being just telling his story from a different perspective. Like, for example, when I say to people, I am on every page of that book, I don't mean literally like I've super
See that in the background there? That's me, that is.
Yeah. I mean,
you do have a cameo at the end of the first book, though, don't you?
I do have a cameo at the end of the first book. Now, I will actually say...
What? How have I not noticed this? What?
I didn't know that till it went to print. That actually... I didn't know it till it went to print. So I asked Mickey to draw in Ethan and Billy, because Billy, obviously being a great supporter and someone I've admired for a long time, and Billy and I get on so well, and he was one of the first people championing this book. I wanted him drawn in. And Ethan, because he launched it, because he's always been very supportive and he loves it. And I didn't tell either of them until I sent it. But then me being a dope, I'm sending them this picture, going, look, and then literally about, less than a millimetre up, there's me, and I didn't even notice myself till I sent it to him. Now, it does look like me. It's not like Mickey can't draw me. It blatantly looks like me. So how I didn't notice, I don't know.
All right. I see it. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Oh, God.
Right there. But, it's quite, so yeah, that's why I said that I'm definitely going to be pursuing this thing about the PhD and stuff. Yeah. It's an area of his life that's never been looked at, and and the actual his South London roots and how they made him have also never really. But this is that is my niche, because I remember meeting David Robinson for the first time, who is his biographer, and one of the first questions I asked him was, "Do you think his humour was geographic?" And he said, "I can't answer that because I've never met anybody that knows him well enough from South London." I was like, "Well, you have now," and it's how it all started, because there's things that he does and things that he did that were so not only London but South London. So, for example, he and his brother, if they wanted to have a conversation and they didn't want anybody else around them to know what they were talking about, they would talk in back slang, which is like Pig Latin.
Yeah, okay.
And
do you know back slang?
I don't, but my mum does. And what's really funny, we went to a film festival about 8 years ago, and she came with me. And yes, it was 9 years ago, because it was the 100th anniversary of the Tramp, and I was actually giving a talk there on Alfred Harmsworth and the stuff to do the First World War.
How can you not know that this is your niche when you're giving a talk on the 100th anniversary of a Tramp? Come on, wake up! Sorry. I have my moments. Sorry.
There's me, and I'm
sorry
like,
about that outburst.
That's all right. My mum comes with me. We go to Italy. It's the one of the big film festivals in Italy. And
Italy, you're giving a talk in Italy about Chaplin. Well, I don't know what my. Sorry, please continue.
So it's a 100-year anniversary of the Tramp, but it's also the 100th anniversary of the beginning of the First World War.
Right.
So that's why I went and did this thing I've been talking to you about. And unbeknownst to me when I was there, I stood up, and of course, like, I prepared this thing, and I look out into the audience, and in my head I go, "Oh shit!" there was Eugene Chaplin, Victoria Chaplin, Michael Chaplin, and
how many kids did he have?
8. Well, actually, he had 11, but he had 8 with his last wife.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, guess there weren't much on the TV that day.
Or they didn't have a home cinema.
So I've come off the stage after doing that, and my mum is there, and then all of a sudden this lady comes over to me and goes, "I want to ask you something," and I went, "Yeah." It was Victoria Chaplin, who's one of his oldest daughters. In fact, Victoria is the one that. So the lady that used to run the estate, it's Victoria. She had to pass everything through, from the logo all the way through to every image in the book. It's Victoria that oversees everything.
Wow.
And she said to me, "My Uncle Sidney and my dad used to talk in this weird gibberish when they didn't want anybody to know what they were talking about. And since you grew up around South London, where my dad was born. Can you please tell me what it was? Well, it was like a ventriloquist dummy. I didn't even open my mouth, and my mum stood next to me. My mum starts blurting out all this stuff I've never even heard her do before.
Right.
And I go, and she went, "That's it. That's what my dad used to do." And it was backslang. My mum, and backslang is just, it's turning the first two and last two letters of the word round the other way. So, for example, you both know a really famous English word that's backslang. Yobbo. It's boy backwards.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
I'll be damned.
That's where yobbo comes from. It's backslang for boy. So
wow.
I was just like.
Would they do it with every word, even the small words, like the, as?
Yeah, like it is. I think is would be C. So they would literally do it with something like. But it's so that I was learning things about my, and how this all started was my great uncle was in the same workhouse as him, Hanwell Boys House. And in fact, when you read the book, he's playing football with a little boy and he says, "What's your name?" And he says, "My name's William Goodman." In the section in the workhouse in the book, that's my great uncle.
Nice.
That's
nice.
So Mickey drew him in. But it was funny because actually when he drew him in, I didn't have the heart to say to Mickey that the boy was actually dark haired and not blonde. But now it's my mum says it's a bit of a running joke because now I've gone blonde. So my mum's like, recreate the picture in the photo. I'm like, no. But so that's that as well. And the problem was though, growing up in South London, especially then, everyone had a story about him. Everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he used to drink my uncle. Oh yeah, he used to do this." And 9 times out of 10 they weren't true because he left. He left when he was like in his late teens, early 20s, and very much was.
Yeah, but like remember, like back in the day, they probably started drinking when they were about like 12.
Yeah, but Chaplin,
I mean, there would have been licensing laws, would there?
Yeah, but Chaplin was teetotal. He watched his father literally die of alcoholism, and because it was a big thing with it was a massive thing with the vaudeville circuit and the musical circuit that the patrons would often buy that you drinks, that a lot of these artists became alcoholics as a result of it. Right. So he didn't drink. So that's how you know them stories weren't true. But my nan never spoke about this story about her uncle. And the reason being, and this is how crazy people can be, even though her uncle was in a workhouse with Charlie Chaplin, they still were in a workhouse. Yeah, so she would have still had to explain why her family was in a workhouse. Right. Because my nan was a very proud woman. I mean, she had what you would consider to be a council house in London, but it wasn't a council house. It was, I don't know how much you know, but you have different levels. You had Peabody flats and Peabody houses, and they were given to people who had been widowed or had low income jobs. And so that's how my nan ended up with one. But her house inside was pristine. She hated the stigma of these things. I mean, my mum was entitled to free school meals, and my nan wouldn't let her have them because they used to have to queue up separately to all the other kids. So she didn't want my mum to feel,
segregated.
So there's a very sort of proud thing. But it was, and I know she won't, God rest her soul, mind me telling you this because it is funny. But her mum was crazy, like literally mental. Like my great grandmother. Yeah. She used to spend all her rent money on gin and then used to try to find interesting ways to making money, like going to Bath Hospital and letting them test on it.
Dude!
Dear God.
Out to see how far they could stretch it or putting iodine in her eyes. The amount of time my Uncle Fred, God rest his soul, had to go and pick up my great-grandmother from the hospital, you wouldn't even believe. She also used to do, which to me, when my grandmother told me this story, makes me think of like a silent film. But she used to do this thing at the dinner table on a Sunday where she had 2 sets of false teeth. The one that really
one day, one for every day, one for best.
Oh God!
She used to put the spare set in the gravy boat and wait for someone to tip them on their dinner. So, I'm not surprised that my grandmother had a pristine house and everything was kept, and she was so ladylike. So I think it scarred her for, you know. And so it's.
I could just imagine your family like sitting down to Christmas dinner and somebody like getting their Christmas pud and like, what the hell's this?
That's brilliant.
Can you now see why I don't consider myself to be an expert in this field? These are not the sort of things that highbrow academics talk about, you know.
Talking about false teeth. Talking about false teeth. I teach English as a second language here in Germany, and there's this one class I had. I don't know why we were talking about family traditions, and I just remember being a kid. I was probably about 8 years old, and my dad's mum, my grandmother, my dad's parents, my grandparents on my dad's side. They would always have like the whole family around for Christmas, no? And very often it'd end up doing a conga outside in the street, yeah. And I remember this one year, everybody laughing their heads off because my nan would be like doing the conga, singing loudly, and a bloody teeth had flown out. It's pitch black. They'd landed under the hedge outside.
No.
They were on the street, and then the teeth had landed under the hedge. God. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, back to you.
That's what I'm saying. These things happen in so many different families, and it's like when you see that really famous sketch of Del Boy and Only Fools and Horses falling over in the bar, and everybody always says how it's, you know, I can't believe David Jason did that, and he didn't. It doesn't even look like he bent his legs. It's so effortlessly done. David Jason probably saw about 20 people do that in real life, pissed out of their heads in a pub at some stage. These things really did happen, and that's why I think. I mean, the Tramp is inspired by a character called Rummy Binks, who literally used to be so drunk out of his head, taking 2 steps forward and about 3 steps back every single place that he went. So that's where part of the walk is meant to have come from. So, but I also think that a lot of Chaplin historians, they focus so much on his life once he gets to America, and then how America shaped him, and how, you know, and there's so many things ingrained in the person that he was that came from his upbringing. So, for example, what are you looking around for?
No, I've got.
Oh,
Are you looking for birds or something? They're behind you.
I was actually I was thinking, has he heard something that I haven't heard? So, for example, he was really, when you listen to the things that he believed, and when you actually see how stubborn he was, you realise that this is all a result of childhood trauma and all the things that went on. So, you know, this whole thing about him being a communist and all the McCarthy era stuff and all this, he didn't help himself because he didn't read the room very well. And what I mean by that is he very much had this obstinate attitude of, I'm sick and tired of explaining this, make of it what you will, or I don't have to prove myself. Now,
rope to hang yourself, really.
Yeah, really, and I personally feel, growing up with incredibly stubborn South Londoners, mostly women in my family, funnily enough. What's my mum like when she's set her mind on something?
Well, that's it, really, isn't it?
Can't change it. You can't change it. But he had that mentality. But he also was too proud to admit certain things. So, for example, his signature gives Chaplin historians a bloody nightmare because there are so many variations of it. Because he was so, they're all real and they can all be verified for one way or another. But the reason why they are all slight deviations is because he didn't want to have to wear his glasses in public because he was a little bit vain. So that's why the signatures slightly don't match, because he didn't want people to see him with glasses on.
Okay.
There's stuff like that. He really didn't like the fact that the king had turned him down his knighthood. And as much as he was a comedian, he wanted to be. This is why the whole communist thing is like, pardon my French, lads, it's bollocks. Because he wanted to be a member of the British aristocracy. No communist wants to be a member of the British aristocracy.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of the reasons we
Yeah, unless they want to infiltrate.
Yeah, that I don't believe that one. I think he wanted all the trappings of being able to wear tweed and go hunting with the king. I don't think that it was anything else. But interestingly, one of the major things that they throw at him is why didn't he become an American citizen? And he would say very blasé, "Oh, I'm a citizen of the world," because of course that to them sounds very left wing and very understandably. The real reason, and if he'd just been honest, I personally think would have saved him a lot of hassle. He didn't want to give up his British passport because if the minute he gave up his British passport, he would never be knighted because he wasn't technically a member of the British Empire anymore.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So by not giving up his British passport,
right,
he looked like he was an outsider and an alien, even though we're basically the same people, really. But he did never admit it. And I'm 100% convinced that was the reason, because there's no other legitimate reason. He didn't have many investments over here. His children were all in America. There was no legal reason why he had to keep his citizenship. His mother by this time had passed away. It wasn't like relinquishing that meant he couldn't come back and take her to America. He'd already taken her to America and there she died. So it's all because he wanted to be knighted.
Yeah. Were there any of the children who actually wanted to come back to, or did come back to the UK, or go back to the UK, I should say?
Well, no. You mean the grandchild? Well, the thing is, he was. People think he was chucked out of America, but people think he was chucked out of America. He almost actually wasn't chucked out of America. They sent him a telegram saying he had to go in front of the House of Un-American Activities. And he basically went, bollocks to this. I paid my tax for 40 years. If you don't want me, I'll go elsewhere. I'm not standing in front of a kangaroo court and being made to look like an idiot. If I didn't love this country, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have done what I've done. And what people often forget is in the Second World War and the First World War, he was very instrumental with other big American celebrities at the getting together the war bonds to help send money and ammunition and all sorts of things to people in Europe, and the Red Cross, where they sent money to war-torn parts of the world to be able to help the refugee crisis that developed in both world wars. So I can understand he's feeling a bit bruised by this.
Yeah, for sure.
He goes to come to England, and to be honest, I'm surprised he didn't end up hating us just as much as he was, because we were terrible to him. So he comes here. He's the glitz of the town. In the beginning of the first book, he's treated like a god and all this stuff. And then when he goes to settle here, looks at buying some houses. The government go, yeah, we want 40% of your earnings. And he goes, but I haven't made anything here. They went, yeah, but you've got an accumulated fortune of this. And he's like, well, I haven't made any of this money. So he moved to Switzerland because he literally was like, well, why should I? Why should I take any, why should I give them anything? I don't blame him. I mean, he never hated England. When he got his knighthood, in the end, he cried. But it was just a case of he's literally ostracised from the two places to call home. And all of his children ended up living in Switzerland. And I think his youngest was born, I'm sure Christopher was born in Switzerland.
Okay.
Because he was only 16 when his dad died.
Oh.
I mean, Chaplin had him when he was 72.
Yeah, baby.
Damn, son.
Damn, son.
72 was, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's still got it.
I'm surprised he could raise a smile, let alone anything else, at 72 years of age.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, my God, isn't there?
The opinions in this program are not necessarily reflected by the Chaplin estate.
No, but I think they probably have a bit of a laugh at that. But Christopher is, he's an artist and a musician now. Una Chaplin, who is his granddaughter, has been in Game of Thrones. She's been in something recently. She's going to be in something, I think, as well.
Nice. What part did she play then, or was she?
She was the wife that got murdered in the Red Wedding episode.
Oh, I don't know why, but I had this image of the Red Wedding, and I was like, and then you said that. That's like really weird.
she looks like a chaplain. She's got that. She does, yeah, she does. And what else? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, without the moustache.
Yeah. He never had one in real life, did he? But I'm trying to think. Geraldine, his daughter, she's obviously most famous for being in Dr. Zhivago.
Get out! What? The original Dr. Zhivago? Get out!
Yeah, okay. She's in Dr. Zhivago. I'm trying to think. Oh, she was actually also, if you watch The Crown, I don't know if either of you gentlemen do watch The Crown, or the ladies in your lives watch The Crown, but she played Wallis Simpson in the older Wallis Simpson in The Crown as well. So I remember watching you, didn't I? And I went, it's Geraldine Chaplin. Geraldine's she's definitely got her father's stubbornness. She's one. She doesn't take any shit from anyone. She's great because she is Geraldine Chaplin, even though she was married to her husband for years. And when asked why, she went, "What? My father worked really hard for this name, and it's internationally renowned. Do you think I'm not going to live off this name if I have to?" And I kind of respect that because,
okay. You know. Hey, is there anything that you've? Okay, so what you've told us tonight, have you left anything for Thursday?
Oh yeah, loads. Don't worry.
we don't want to piss Dave off. I mean, he's taking time off work to come see you. No, we got all the info here.
To be fair, you probably got the sort of slightly redder or bluer version of what is going to be going on at Slapstick, because I very much doubt the story about my grandmother's false teeth is going to make it.
Okay. So that's one of the signs. That's one of the silent signs. Tell us about your grandmother's false teeth.
Yeah. But it is funny because he is like I say, the reason I think I don't feel like an academic on him is because he doesn't, I don't want to make it sound in a weird obsessive way, but he does feel like part of the family, not because I think I'm related to him or anything weird like that, but there are so many things that I got to know more about my own family and their upbringing and the harshness they lived through, literally by learning more about him, learning more about Victorian and Edwardian South London and understanding, the things. And then I find out my mum, she goes to me one day, my mum's a nightmare. I love her, and she is my.
She's going to be watching this at any time.
She might be calling her a nightmare. So she will randomly drop pieces of information, and you look at her going, "And you never thought to tell me this." So about 5 years ago, we're sitting there and we're watching Schindler's List, and I go to her. This film always is so harrowing to me. I said, I love it, but also it is emotionally draining to watch. She goes, I've been there. I went, where? She went, where he's buried. I went, what do you mean? She went, well, I went to Israel, didn't I? I went, when did you go to Israel? She went, well, on that cruise I did it last year. I went,
last year?
You went to Israel and you didn't tell me. She went, yeah, I went to the Garden of the Righteous where he's buried. I went, you saw where Schindler's buried and you never told me. I went, did you take any pictures? She went, yeah, but that was on the phone that I lost on the way back.
Bloody hell.
So there's that. And then we're sitting there, something else, and she goes to me, oh, I can't remember what it was now. I was going to say something.
Okay, backtrack. Schindler, Israel.
No, I can't remember what I was going to say now. But basically, she does that to me, and she did that with something to do with Chaplin, and I don't remember what it was now. But she went to me, oh yeah, it's this, and I went, you didn't want to tell me this, none of this stuff. She goes, well, why would I? It's like not. Oh, thanks, Mum. Like
I can identify with that a bit. I mean, like when I was when I moved to Germany, I was in Germany 2002, and I was here for like 7 weeks. I did a bit of like on the side work. Nobody's listening. I did a bit of on the side work, made some money, and my main interest at that time was in California. Yeah, she'd moved from like Taiwan to California for like to practice English. So I thought, well, I'm going to go to California. So there I am. I'd moved from Germany to California. I'd moved from Taiwan to Grimsby, Justin, Grimsby, and then I'd been offered a place at university in Heidelberg, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to Germany. And I'd been living in Taiwan for 3 years, moved back to the UK. 8 days later, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm going to Germany. No. Then I decided, I'm going to California. So I'm in the library at Fallbrook, California, and I'd been there for like about 3 weeks. And I looked online, and there's massive flooding in Germany. And I thought to myself, shit, I haven't told my parents where I am. So I'm like, dude, it kind of shows how often at that time I would like really communicate with my parents. I was a very, very, I haven't got it. I've got one of those world's best son mugs. I did not earn that right. In any case, I got online. I was like, just to let you know, I'm not in Germany at the moment. I'm in America, and I'm okay.
I did remember what it was.
Okay, you see it.
I did remember what it was.
See, it works. I distracted you, and it works.
One day she said to me, not really a surprise to me that you got interested in all this stuff to do with Charlie Chaplin. I thought she was going to say something like, because
he's your granddad.
There is always stuff to do with like the family connection and like growing up there. And I thought it was going to be some philosophical answer like that. I said, why is that, Mum? She went, well, I did meet your dad in the Charlie Chaplin pub in the Elephant and Castle. You never told me this? Why have you never told me this? Right. She goes to me, oh, well, she went, your life feels a bit preordained, really. I went, oh, God, what are you going to tell me now? She went, well, you know how you're like, you love Michael Jackson. You're a big Michael Jackson fan. I went, yes. She went, my waters broke with you the first time he ever did the moonwalk. I was like,
well, hang on a sec. Her water broke the first time he did the moonwalk, or she did the moonwalk.
No, he did.
Because I was going to say, if it's when she did the moonwalk, no wonder her water broke.
That would have been really impressive. Now, she said this a very similar thing to my brother. She went, I'm not surprised you're so interested in computer games. And then he went, what do you mean? She went, well, I got, you know how most people get cravings when they're pregnant? My mum got addicted to playing Tetris on the Game Boy, right?
Oh, my God.
Don't ask me why. Her waters broke, and because she was on level 9, she just sat on the toilet and carried on playing until my dad got home from work to take her to the hospital.
That brings back a few memories.
So, yeah. I hope I'm not painting her in a bad light or anything. Do you know what I mean?
No, this is great. Keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah, she actually just Yan will tell you, my mum is just an older version of me. Like we are so alike in things. I mean, we will come out with things and he'll go, all right, Marion, like chill out. Like, because I'll be today I turned into the grandmother from Catherine Tate. Now that was funny.
Oh,
right?
God.
Because we're selling our flat, and as you guys know, probably from dealing with property and buying and selling stuff, there's some people that like to take the piss out there with what they want to offer you, right? Yeah. So one estate agent rang up, and you could tell she didn't want to tell us what this person was offering us. So she said that, and I politely went on the phone. No, sorry, but you'll have to go back and tell them that we're not accepting that. We've got to have X, Y, and Z. Yeah. Got off the phone being all posh and proper, and I put the phone down and went, what a fucking liberty!
How dare you! How very dare you!
He went, all right, Gran. Like, when Catherine Tate turned up, I was going, now, what a cheek, what a liberty! How dare she do that? And he was like, because that's what you do in this game. Like, you have to do that. But
oh my God, I didn't realise Yan was like Arthur Daly.
Not pizza.
Arthur Chicken.
Arthur Chicken.
Yeah. I was taking it personally. I was like,
Arthur Kebab.
Arthur Chicken and Doner Kebab. Down the road.
Oh, actually, talking about
Here could check Doner. There you go. Right. Yes. Sorry, carry on.
Talking about doner kebabs and actually Bristol, there is and if Bristolian David that he'll be able to tell you this is true. There was at least the last time I was down there, a doner kebab van called
Jason's Donovan.
And I remember being down there once, and he was down there in Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and actually put it on Twitter that Jason Donovan was having a Donna from the Jason Donovan.
Nice.
Oh God.
There you go. It's quite. So we've turned a very amazing highbrow thing that I'm involved in on Thursday into my grandmother's teeth, and me turning into and my mum dropping weird parts of my life that I didn't know happened. It's anything you want to add to the crazy one?
I was going to tell a little anecdote. It's actually Roger Moore saying about coincidences and such.
Yeah.
He was filming in Brazil, and it was for one of the James Bond films.
I was going to say, in Brazil or the film Brazil?
No, in the country Brazil. And he saw this billboard up, and he was like, "That woman's beautiful. That I've got to meet her. I've got to meet her. And they went around looking everywhere, and they were like, "She's not here. She must be like in California or something." Went back home, was talking to his agent, and he went, "Oh, I can't stop thinking about this girl. I saw on a billboard. She's the most beautiful girl in the world." Blah. And he goes, "Well, what's the picture of it?" And he goes, "She lives down Old London Road, like 5 streets away."
Bloody hell.
The model in England who they took pictures of.
That wasn't Roger Moore.
It was Roger Moore, wasn't it?
No, it was Michael Caine.
Oh, sorry, it was Michael Caine.
and I know that because he's another South London boy.
You are right, because Roger Moore married Indian. That Indian supermodel.
No, Michael Caine married the Indian supermodel.
Oh, well, there you go. But she was one of the story is he was in another country, and it turned out she was just around the corner from where he lived.
Yeah, because he's another
Whoever
one.
it was.
He's another one I love. He's a good old South London boy. In fact, he also come from up the road from where. So you've got obviously Lambeth and Kennington, and you've got Camberwell, and then you've got Lewisham. I think that.
Lewisham. Where do you live, or where are you from actually originally?
Kennington. So Lambeth.
From Kennington, Lambeth. Yeah. Okay.
So he's from. I think he was born like around the Isle of Dogs sort of way, Michael Caine. But I know that he's definitely a South. No, Rotherhithe. He was born in Rotherhithe, and another famous South London boy is also good old Gary Oldman, who was
nice. Yeah. Okay.
But Michael Caine, he's another one that I can honestly say to you, he is he comes out with things, and I listen to him and I go, Jesus, that could be like one of my uncles was sitting there. When he was interviewed once on, who's the famous interview used to do all Parkinson, that's it. And they said to him, "Why did you take on this film?" Because I can't remember what film it was, but it was definitely one that bombed and didn't do massively well. And people were like, "Why are you in this film? Because this is not the sort of thing that you're normally in." He went, "Well, the wife needed a new bathroom and I was bored. So I decided to take on this." So, and they were all like, they just loved him for being honest. He was basically going, "Yeah, it was a bit shit, but the plumbing in downstairs weren't up to much, so just thought we'd sort it out."
Trying to think what that could be. Not Zulu 2.
The Revenge.
Oh God, yeah, Jaws of Revenge. I remember that.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Zulu 2. Is that a prick in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?
Is it a prick in your pocket? I don't think they were wearing pockets. That's right. Bloody spears at me.
Also, it would make sense if that's what he was getting a new bathroom for. Zulu.
Boink.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell,
I think that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. Right. Justin, anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's been a while since you've streamed on your channel. When are you going to get back to doing it?
Well, that's a very good question. I'm waiting at the moment to get a verification that my GoFund. Well, it's not a GoFundMe. I'm doing it through an actual charity fundraising website to be able to have my own page for the Turkey and Syrian earthquake. Because you've got to get verified. They have to have like your passport details, your bank account number, because they're, we know it happens. It's a horrendous thing. People will set up fake ones to just get some money and then bugger off with the money. So that's planning on being my next one. But we are setting up a website where I'm going to be doing a lot more history stuff with like blog posts and all these things I was saying before. Yeah. And I'm hoping to be able to make a bit like short videos. Now everything's settling down at home. I'm hoping to actually do some like, 5-10 minute videos on different things. And I'm going to be wanting audience participation, as in, if someone wants if they're really interested in some random battle of the First World War, or even something to do with the Napoleonic War, or something to do with Prohibition, and they send me an email and go, we really want you to cover this on your channel. I'll go do the research and I'll do a short video on it. Lots of different things, because I want to be able to, expand my sort of historical knowledge and learn a bit, and then be able to have a video. Because, I wanted to. The thing is, live streams take such a huge amount of your time.
Yeah, they do.
As much as you love doing them, you come off of here, and you probably feel the same. You couldn't go straight to bed after being on a live stream. You're buzzing a bit. So
I'm always buzzing, Mrs. I'm always buzzing, but I guess you knew that about me already.
because of that sort of thing, and the sort of time we have to be up for work, and how much time we have in the evening, it's not always convenient to take a chunk out of the day and then have that come down period. And it's so sad, because I'm in, DM rooms with people that stream in American time, and I wake up the next morning and see they've sent a link, and I go, oh, for God's sake, because they stream, they might start at midnight and they're going till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Our time. I mean, there have been times when I've logged on to, I know I've been on Ethan's and Mandy's and, a couple of others, and they're still going, and they're like on their last legs knackered because they've been streaming for 5 hours. And I come on going, hello, because I've literally been up about 20 minutes. I've had a shower, I put my makeup on, and I'm ready for work. And they're like, we go to bed now. You literally come in for the last 5 minutes. And I'm like,
where I've gone to bed, slept, got up for work, and you're still there.
Yeah, when we used to do like the really long ones during COVID, and that's the other thing as well, is that it was a real big adjuster when I was streaming loads during lockdown, because obviously
what else are you gonna do?
And the way that we were teaching then was that we were told to upload the work for the kids and then check it in the evening. So I used to, do these mental long streams, upload the work, go to bed, get up, and then mark their work an hour before going on another live stream. So was then when you get back into a regular routine, it's just not plausible. I can't even tell you over the last sort of 6 months how many apologies I've said to people that I'm really sorry I haven't been on a stream with you, but then they always come back the same thing. Well, you're not streaming with anyone, so I'm not going to take it personally.
Oh, we got you on a stream! Oh, success!
I think this is the first stream that you and I have been on together for 8 months.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been.
Right. Yeah, my mother-in-law's a teacher, and she's told me some of the struggles she's gone through in those few years.
It's a nightmare, but it's one of the reasons why I always try to make sure that my social media presence on Twitter and that I'm always posting every day, because there's two reasons. One, you don't want people to think that you're disappearing, because then people don't interact with you as much, and I love obviously mixing with people. The other thing is, and I'm pretty sure that no one would ever think this of me, I've delivered my first book, the second one is coming along beautifully, there is no worries. But the minute you start disappearing off the face of the earth with social media and you've got a live campaign, a lot of questions get asked. And I don't ever want to drop off and do that. And I am sure that a lot of the reasons are legitimate, but I don't even want to throw that up in the air, whether it's legitimate or not. It's one of the reasons why I knew, right, I'm not live streaming. I'm going to be a very, very active and And as guys, you saw last couple of days, I put new pages in the DM room that Mickey sent me. So everything's going along really, really nicely.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Right. I think, hey, we said we were only going to be on for like half an hour.
Yeah.
The best laid plans of men. Gang afterglay. Right.
I was never just going to give you guys half an hour because to me,
no, we're happy about it. We're happy about it.
You know what though? It's like it's like you only really get warmed up after about 20 minutes. Then you're going to stop at 10. Like
what the heck?
Well, I can assure you've been a joy to listen to.
Oh, thank you.
Don't stop me now. There you go. All right, guys. But I reckon at 1:16. We're usually in the past, I don't know, a few months, we've kind of kept it to an hour. But I think this is going to be a good point to say thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
we wish you absolutely all the success, and I hope you have loads of fun on Thursday. And you know what? I'm sure you will, and I'm sure the audience will as well.
Well, one last thing before you go. The guys that are coming down with CGUK, we're doing something very, very CGUK and very British. We are, as a group, going to see The Life of Brian that they are showing at Slapstick.
Can I just make a suggestion?
Movie.
Make a suggestion. Get yourselves together and sing the Bag and Bin theme song, and we will play it at the next, and send it to us. We will play it as the next intro.
All right.
Look forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. Get those people to print it out. All right, guys. Okay, viewers at home, those 2 viewers we have left, and anyone who watches between now and Thursday. Yeah, Thursday, 16th February in Bristol at the Watershed. Come on, only £6, £4.50. What's not to like? Have fun, guys. Hope you guys have a great time. Okay. Everybody, gay wave.
No, do we have to?
Yes, you do.
This needs to be in the contract.
That is not the gay wave, Jan. You know it.
I'm a bit squeezed in. I've only got half a
wave.
Half a kebab, half a wave.
Good night.
Good night. Bargain bin. Let's see what crowd is in. Baba Dave and his hair. He's old man, but please don't stare. Alright, he's on the bargain bin. Next on up is Jacobus, with computer skills most dubious. Can he play a video stream? Way, here is the bargain bin. Bonus section, it's area black. For the furries, he's got your back. Along with Neve, that rhymes with Steve. Can she weave? She'll knit you a sleeve. Whoa, they're on the bargain bin. It's on Monday night. If you're lucky, it's on time. It's a pile of shite, but to miss it is a crime. Just out the gate, it's Rob GP. He's not a dog, but he'll make you pee. Up for a laugh, he'll laugh at Oat. If he falls flat, he'll get his coat. Whoa, we are the bargain bin. You hear the bargain bin, huh? This is the bargain bin. I'm still here. I just want to say I've been reading the chat now. And I'm so sorry that I didn't read the chat. My apologies. See you guys next week. Oh, I still haven't hit bend. And now I have.